Said it once and I'll say it again. Roth IRAs are for poor people.
I don't know about you guys, but I think I'd rather be $2 million richer in retirement than broke.
What if you die before you see the money? What are you going to leave it for your kids?
Because the younger you start, the better, especially when it comes to a Roth IRA.
Even if you live to see the money, you'll probably be a vegetable from all the cart rips anyway.
I never thought that I would log on to TikTok and see people arguing on the internet over Roth IRAs, but they are because of this statement.
Said it once and I'll say it again. Roth IRAs are for poor people. They are made for poor people. I don't mean that as an insult. I mean it quite literally as it is an investment vehicle for people who don't know how to make money. There are a million ways to make money better than using a Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is just something that the government created. That way poor people can have a safe way of investing. If you can put in a little bit of effort, there are a million ways to make money much faster. I don't want $1.2 million tax-free when I'm 65, okay? I want money now. What the fuck is the point of getting $1.2 million tax-free when you're about to die? If you put aside money your entire life and you get your $1.2 million tax-free by the time you're 65, according to the average lifespan in the US, you have about 12 or 13 years to spend that before you die. But you won't even really be able to spend that money. You'll just probably be spending it on medical bills. But if you just took some of that and you invested in education, you wouldn't even need to worry about how much money you're gonna get from an IRA when you're 65 years old. When have you ever heard anyone who's young and successful say a Roth IRA is how they made their money? If you wanna make money while you're young, and everyone should wanna make money while they're young, you need to be investing in your education. If you're 23 years old and you're making $40,000 a year, right? Minimum wage or whatever it is, and you're putting $6,000 of that in a Roth IRA, that is going to significantly affect your lifestyle. Invest in things that are going to make you better, smarter. Invest in things that are going to keep you updated with what's happening now. Yes, you have to put in a little bit of work, but it's not supposed to be easy to make money when you're young.
Now, I think this is a very interesting conversation. That's why I wanted to let a good chunk of it play so I could really see what he's saying. Essentially, it sounds more like he's against it for those people who might be creative. For example, you might be thinking to start some sort of business, and that business might generate you a large income of money. Best case scenario. But I think that two things can be done at once. I think you can contribute to your Roth IRA because of the benefits that you get from having a Roth IRA while still doing a lot of the things that he said. Logically, I can get where he's coming from with the idea of if you are contributing to your Roth IRA, especially if you're younger and you do this for like 20, 30 years, and you end up having millions of dollars. Him saying essentially time isn't on your side is fair to say, in my opinion. But I would also say this. Let's say you do invest into yourself with the education, with a business, or some or other vehicles, and they don't work, right? They don't work the way you thought they would. It would be nice to still have a Roth IRA. And I kind of look at it from the aspect of, do you want to put all of your eggs in one basket for how you want to live when you're older? Probably not. When you're younger, yeah, you can take more risks. You can invest into more things. Time from that aspect is typically on your side, unless you give up the ghost at a young age. But one thing you can't go back and do that I think is missing from this conversation is to invest into the market over an extended period of time. For example, many people who invest into their Roth IRA 20 years ago cannot today get yesterday's prices. And I'm talking about prices from 20 years ago. You can't compound interest your way into that same situation today. The time has gone. You would have just had to do it. You would have had to just been there, made the decision, been actively participating in your Roth IRA investments, and then you would have had the gains. Now, I'll be honest, it definitely can go the other way, but historically speaking, most people see growth with their Roth IRA as well as compound interest. And I want to know, what do y'all think? Is it better just to go all in essentially on something else other than a Roth IRA? Or do you agree that Roth IRAs are for poor people, quote unquote, that's what, according to what he's saying, so they have something safer to invest in? And in my opinion, if it's so safe, then why not do it anyway? Why not do both?
Who wants $1.2 million when they're 65 years old, bro? If you want to make money when you're young, you need to invest in your education and becoming better.
I think you can do both. I actually just feel like do what you are comfortable with doing. But I definitely think there is so much upsides to Roth IRAs that people don't realize. And this is why I think it's important to do your own research on these type of things, because it can change your life, literally. And he said, how many people want to have 1.5 million at 60 something? Me. I want to have it before and after. Like, best case scenario, I think that's what most people would say. And that's why I was talking about diversification, not just putting all your eggs in one basket. Now, and the comments are always a gold mine, as I love to tell you all. This comment here says, work in wealth management, and the richest people in my town had Roth IRAs fully filled out. Another saying, I worked as a portfolio management analysis for the top 1%, helped manage investments for families and individuals with over 150 million in investable assets. My, and they had Roth IRAs and 401ks still, along with other investment accounts. Now, and they go on to say that this guy allegedly doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, I'm not here to say what people should or shouldn't do, because I'm not a financial advisor either. I'm just a blabbermouth on the internet. Actually, talk to the professionals. But I sure like to read something. Now, and another comment saying, I work for a financial advisor, not a joke. And this is not good advice. Now the naysayers are in his comments. And this person is saying, invest in a Roth IRA, especially if you are young. I would have to agree personally. What better time? Oh my. And the reason is because you have time on your side for the volatility. You know, when you're older, again, as I talked about in the last video where we talked about IRAs and Roth IRAs, you don't want to deal with that up and down a lot. You don't like a lot of risk. You're like, hey, I'm trying to make some money and make it fast. Why do you want to make it and make it fast? Probably so you can sit down. Because at some point in your life, we all like, hey, my knee is aching, my back hurting, this back breaking work, and now all of a sudden you want some quick flip money. You want to make something fast. This is why when we make videos, we like to talk to people about how important it is to invest in these things early, because time is on your side. Your knees aren't hurting yet, your back hasn't started to break. You haven't had all these life situations and circumstances that are going to drain your money. That's why we be saying that. And while you're in that stage, you can maximize whatever you do get into your Roth IRA, so long as you don't make bad decisions that financially cripple you as you're trying to move up in the world. Now, if you start doing that, then it's going to be harder, and then it's just what's going to have to come with it, but it's still doable. It's still doable, but it's better if you start young, because again, you can't go back to a market that is not here currently. You just participate when you participate, and then you get what you get. So like when you hit about 40 and now all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, there's been people I know that have been investing into this Roth IRA since they was 20. Yeah, you just didn't do it, and that's perfectly fine, but you're not about to likely just see the same sort of gains that person has been compounding for 20 years, and you're just starting at 40. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you might not even have that much money to invest into your Roth IRA. At some point, if you hit a certain age, you can play catch up. But why not just do it to your max capabilities while you're young? It just makes more sense. And that's why people tell other people that it's a great thing to do, or at least to look into. And I wanted to quickly go over this just for those of you who may not know. I am currently on nerdwallet.com, and there is an article on this website that gives a lot of useful information for those of you who may not have it. And it says, stand out Roth IRA accounts for retirement investing. And it says here, a Roth IRA is an individual retirement account that you fund with after-tax dollars. While you don't get a tax break now, your contributions and your investment earnings grow tax-free. And I'm glad it's telling everybody how to contribute. It says you can contribute to a Roth IRA through earned income. You know, it takes money to make money. That's how it works. Such as money earned through a job or, and this is why I want to point this out and why reading is fundamental, or a spousal contribution. That means your spouse, for a lot of you who are like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, I can't, blah, blah, I can't make no money. You can have a spousal contribution. Hint, hint. Hint, hint. Some of y'all are like, my spouse takes care of everything, I'm gonna be set up and blah, blah. Okay, well, discuss this and see, hey, Johnny, we need to talk. Can you hook me up with a spousal contribution since we agreed to me being at home and not making any money so I can have something? Like, these are the conversations that need to be had. It's appropriate and it's available. And I'm only telling y'all to help some of y'all out, because my. Now, it goes on to say, these are also called direct contributions, and there are limits to how much you can add every year. This is why people say it's better to start young. Why? Because there are limits to how much you can add each year. It doesn't say there are limits depending on how old you are. It says there are limits per year. Every year, you have to check back to see, hey, what are the limits to this year? You actually have to Google it a lot of the time, or talk to your CPA, your accountant, your financial advisor, but it's usually in a Google search you can see that. Now, it says here, the contribution limit is $7,000 in 2025. In 2025, y'all. But it goes on to say it is $80,000 if age 50 and older. You see how they don't have the same contribution limit as people under 50? And then it goes on to state for 2026, which is the year we're currently in, the limit is $7,500 or $8,600 if you are 50 years and up. The reason I'm pointing that out is because a lot of people at an older age may not have either had the knowledge, the resources, or at the time, the desire to make these contributions. These are higher for those people. And with that, hopefully they can make up for some of that time that they didn't invest, that they didn't contribute to the Roth IRA. Again, this is why people say time is on your side when you're younger. Because right now you can contribute $7,500 a year. But say you didn't do that. Say you're like, oh, why do I need to do that? And 10 years go by, you don't do it. And you decide, hey, I'm getting up there. I want to start thinking about these sort of things. Well, guess what? You can only do so much per year. Now, this next video is responding to the one that we just watched with the guy saying Roth IRAs are for poor people.
See, this guy's getting a lot of clout on his video, but at the same time, I do want you guys to say, if you have your common sense thinking cap on, for 90% of people making under $300,000 a year, in the US, which is majority of who's watching this, and also for folks that don't know the numbers, the average 401k balance at 65 years old is about $200,000. So you think about, when can somebody actually retire? I don't believe it's an age. It's actually an amount of money you have. But let's just do some simple math and say you have 35 years to plan your retirement and you're thinking about, what should I do? If you just put in, I'm gonna post the numbers, $7,500 is the limit in a Roth IRA today.
Yep.
Under 50.
Yep.
After 35 years at 9%, that's $2 million. Tax-free $2 million. I don't know about you guys, but I think I'd rather be $2 million richer in retirement than broke and bagging groceries, okay?
I mean, that's a fair opinion, I think. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, who has $7,500 to max out a Roth IRA in 2026? The thing is, you don't have to max out your Roth IRA. You can put however much you feeling like putting in that account, that's on you, which is why I think it's better to do something rather than to do nothing, because you don't have to max it out. But again, if you're serious, force a lot of you to think about, where is a lot of your money going to? Now, I'm not saying people are BS spending $7,500 a year, and that's why they're not maxed out. But if you look within what you spend every month, perhaps there are some habits that can be readjusted and funds that can be reallocated for your future. That's where that money is going to come from. For some people, that may be $7,500. And if you can do that, that's a blessing. But if you can't, no shame, you can still participate if you want. And I love this comment here. It says, started taking my retirement seriously last year. Open my Roth IRA. I have about $800 in it so far. I'm 21. And my goal is to get $1,200 by the end of this year. Little steps, I know, but I'm trying. And that is what it's going to take. Trying and just having the knowledge. You see, a lot of people didn't even have that knowledge at 21 because their algorithms or their life was being entertained with other things, other conversations were being had. This conversation might not even have been on a lot of people's radars, but the minute it is, and you can, I think personally, why not? Why not? Why not take action? Because at least at 21, if you start doing this, by the time you 30, even if you're not rich, you can see what this will do, because it will tell you like what percent change has occurred since you started contributing. For example, let's just say you come back and it says in 10 years, you're up 100%. Then in your head, you're gonna be like, dang, I only put in like $800. Like, what if I would have put in way more than that? That is likely what most people would think. It's a reasonable thought. And it just opens your mind up to the possibilities of what it can be once you see that little doing a lot of work. So if a little can make such a huge change, what can a lot do? And a lot for a lot of people is that $7,500 a year. I like this comment right here. It says, here's what to do. Number one, put the maximum in your 401k, get your employee match. We gotta talk about that in a second. 2, max out your Roth IRA. 3, whatever you have left, throw it in the 401k or start saving for a home. Now, the point that I really want to drive home for everybody is this part. Put the maximum in your 401k and get the employee match. The reason I'm talking about that is it's like leaving free money on the table. And here is what happens. And I'll give you all a quick story. When I was in the military for like 10 years, active duty, when we contributed to our 401ks, we would get a match. For example, if you put in $1,000, it's just an example, they'll give you $1,000 to $1,000. Why not do that? A match. That's what it's called, a match. It's called a match for a reason. And there's usually a maximum amount you can do to get the max. So when people are saying, hey, I'm investing in my 401k and I'm just trying to get the employee match, they're at like, go to your employer and say, hey, do y'all for one offer 401k matches? And if so, what is the max that I can do? And if you can, like, hey, look into that. Just so you have the knowledge. It's like leaving free money on the table. And then next, he's of course saying max out your Roth IRA, which is what we're talking about here, which is separate. Now, that last piece that says throw it into a 401k or start investing for a home, hey, that's gonna be personal preference, because I understand everybody doesn't want to be a homeowner, but maybe there's something else that you want to invest in. And when I say invest, I'm not talking the stock market. Like, it could be the stock market, but it could just be you want to invest into your education, or you want to invest into a craft that you think can generate you some money, or maybe you want to invest in a business idea that you have. Investing is simply you just taking your resources, your money, and planting seeds. Planting them wherever you think they will grow. And because you don't know where they're going to grow, you don't want to plant them all in one spot. For those of y'all who garden, you understand this. You don't just plant one seed and be like, where's the seed? The seed might not grow. So you got to plant a bunch of seeds, and some of them are going to sprout. You're going to have a nice harvest. You know? You want to know why? Because you didn't just put it all in one spot. You got a lot of stuff going on, and they're sprouting at different times. Like, got something going on over here, you got something going on over there. It's like this one fell through. The plant died while it was growing. That's investing. That's investing. It's not just the stock market, y'all. The investment could be the house. It could be. It's a seed. So plant, like, think about where you want to plant your seeds. Think about it. It's important.
Realistically speaking, an 18, 19, 20-year-old cannot max out a Roth IRA. We're talking about $500, $600 monthly payment, but this is where time matters more than the amount. I opened up my Roth IRA at 21, 22. I set it on automatic for $50 a month. That's how much I've been contributing for the past 7, 8 years. Obviously now I'm in my late 20s and I plan to start maxing it out soon, because now I understand the importance of the account. So even though $50 sounds like nothing, I'm going to show you what $50 a month actually does. An 18 and 25-year-old both open their Roth IRA at the same time, and they both are planning to contribute only $50 a month up until the retirement age of 65, and we're going to assume a 7% average return. And in 47 years, that 18-year-old would have contributed a total of $28,200, while a 25-year-old in 40 years would have contributed a total of $24,000.
Now, this is only $50 a month in her example. The reason why I wanted to point this out is I know a lot of y'all are like, who the heck got $7,500 at 18? And I would agree with that. honestly, because everything is expensive, especially if you're living on your own. But I know plenty 18-year-olds that got $50 every month that they're spending somewhere that maybe if you ask them where it went, they probably couldn't even tell you. So this is very inspirational, or should be at least.
Age of 65, the 18-year-old would have around $210,000 to $230,000 tax-free, while the 25-year-old would only have around $110,000 to $130,000 tax-free. So that $4,200 difference in contribution turned into $100,000 difference in earnings, because the 18-year-old contributed 7 more years than the 25-year-old, and that is why they say that the younger you start, the better, especially when it comes to a Roth IRA and taking advantage as much as you can of a tax-free account. Realistically speaking, in 1819,
There's a few things I want to point out here. She said that these two individuals, this 18-year-old and this 25-year-old, opened their Roth IRA at the same time, hypothetically, right? But because the 18-year-old is opening it earlier than the 25-year-old, the 18-year-old at the age of 65 would have this amount, would have anywhere between $210,000 and $230,000. But the 25-year-old would have $110,000 to $130,000. Big difference here between the two. Both still going to 65. And this is a great visual of why time, as you can see, the time here, representing this 18-year-old, matters. The 18-year-old has 7 more years of investment than the 25-year-old. You know what can happen in 7 years? You know how many market ups and downs and corrections can happen? But the 25-year-old doesn't know anything about all that because they weren't in the market during that time. They entered at 25. This person's been in the market since they were 18. And another thing that I caught that she said is that she had it on automatic. This is like, all this technology nowadays can be it can be used to better yourself. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are missing out because you're using the technology for the fun stuff, and that's okay too, but you can use it to be an asset to your life, to better your life, using automatic payments to come out so you don't even have to think about these sort of things. Now, you do need to go in your Roth IRA account and to say, hey, what bucket essentially do I want to put this money in? But for the most part, the money is at least going there and you're not spending it and then telling yourself, I can't afford to do that, when many of you can. It's just going to like Chick-fil-A or something. Like, it might be going to Chick-fil-A, the gas station, some coffees, and you're not thinking much about it, but $50 a month can make a difference, and this is showing you. So if 50 can do this, what can something else do? Because some of y'all are looking at the screen and you drooling, and you like, oh my gosh, I would love to have this at 65. Well, that only cost this person $50 a month, and that's with a 7% average return. Some people are seeing higher than that, might be 10. Just things to consider. Now, she says she got a Fidelity account, so do I. But she also points out that Vanguard and Charles Schwab do the same thing. And if that's what you're looking to do, understand what the differences are between any of them, do your own research, and just go with the one that you are most comfortable with. Now, mind you, they're in the comments telling y'all, if you have kids, set them up for success and open a custodial Roth IRA. Look, I just see it like set them up any way you can. Goodness gracious. And this comment says, my daughter has maxed out her Roth IRA every year since 18. She makes one lump sum payment every year. Wow, what a blessing. When she started, it was a max contribution of $6,500. Now she makes the full $7,000. She's now 23. It can be realistic if done right. Now, I do want to point out that the lower your cost of living is, the more likely it is you can do this. I don't know their situation, but I'll say this. If you are living with your parents, it is likely easier for you to max out your contributions at 18 every year than somebody who's not. Also, I don't see nothing wrong with staying with your parents past 18. I think that's when you should be with them. If you can, if it all works out for the better good of everybody, why not? Because at 18, if you just getting thrown out to the wolves at 18, all that money that could be going into these investments and setting yourself up, if your parents have not set you up it goes out the window pretty fast. It goes out the window pretty fast because you have to pay for rent, electricity, water, garbage, renter's insurance, a car note, because you probably ain't been given a car. If you have been given a car, you still might have car insurance, dental, medical. It's a lot, and you don't have resources like that. So all of the resources that you may have from whatever job you have that likely isn't paying you that much because you don't have a lot of skills at 18, reasonably so, it's all going to living. And I didn't even mention food. I didn't even mention gas. I didn't even mention if you do decide to treat yourself, you might actually not have much left. Which leads me to my other point. Like, parents, think about that. Think about it. If you have not set your children up for financial success, they won't be able to participate in these sort of things. The things that will really get them ahead, to set them up when they are older. And I understand a lot of parents like, I did my job. They ate. No, let them stay. Well, stop. Stop the madness. Free the kids. At this point, I'll be feeling bad. I do. This is not 10, 20 years ago. Y'all gotta actually see what's going on. When the youth is trying to get ahead, help them. It's gonna be rough for them. Help them out. Dang, y'all decided to bring them here. Dang it, help them. Sheesh. It didn't stress me out thinking about that. Somebody here says, I'm so doomed. And this ended up getting like 12,000 likes. You're not doomed. There's still time. See, I don't think that somebody showing you this means that you're doomed. I think that this means that you should pay attention and just be open to the possibilities. It doesn't mean it's too late for you. It's never too late for nobody. I don't care what we talking about. I know we talking about this. It's not too late for you either. Like, your life could drastically change in a year, 2 years, 10 years. You woke up today, you still got a chance. And I mean that. And I'm glad y'all are in the comments, or she in the comments, encouraging y'all, because y'all over here talking about y'all are the problem. You're 35. I'm too late. And she says it's never too late, girl. And it's true. It's not. You can wake up. Every day you wake up, you can decide to be different than yesterday. You don't have to wake up today and just be like, it is what it is. You can literally, like, think about what I'm saying. You literally can wake up and be like, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this. Granted, that might feel very shocking and very like, who am I feeling like? But sometimes in life, that's necessary for you to be aggressive with yourself like that. For you to really say to yourself, self, we starting a new chapter today. Like, you ever meet somebody who did something really, in your eyes, fascinating that you probably can't quite comprehend? Do you know that there was at one point a day when everything just kind of took a day that changed everything for them? That's usually how life happens. It's like, it was one day you did this one thing and then it changed everything for you. Or you did a thing that led to another sequence of events. Wake up today and realize that you can do that too. You can. I done gave a whole motivational speech. I didn't even mean to.
Talk about the downsides to a Roth IRA. What if you die before you see the money? What, are you going to leave it for your kids?
Yeah, that's, if you have kids, they have beneficiaries. Lord have mercy. This all right.
For your kids? Them kids.
He said F the kids.
Even if you live to see the money, you'll probably be a vegetable from all the cart rips anyway.
This is how you end up working at Walmart at 86. I'm not confirming nor denying or have anything against the folks that work at Walmart in their older age. But the decisions that you make when you're younger tend to show up when you're older. They do. They do. I just hope he's trolling. Because some of y'all make me worry about the fact that y'all have cameras and are on. You do.
I got Roth IRA balance from age 19 to age 26. At age 19, I opened my Roth IRA and put in $1,500 as my first contribution. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I was worried I'd mess it up, but it turns out it's actually more simple than I thought, and I wanted to share what realistic progress can look like. Later that year, when I felt less suspicious at investing, I put in more money, bringing my total to $4,600. At age 20, the next year, I maxed it out and ended the year at $13,000. At age 21, I did the same the next year and ended at $19,000. Slow growth, mostly just my own contributions. At 22, this was the year my account was actually down, so I ended with $17,000. The market dropped, and this is where most people quit, but it is very important that you don't sell and that you don't stop investing. At age 23, things started to recover, and I ended the year with $24,000. At 24, that compounding growth really kicked in, and I had $41,000. Last year, at age 25, I had $50,000. And now, currently, at age 26, I have $65,000 in my Roth IRA. The crazy part is, because over the years I only put $41,000 into my Roth IRA. That's the money I earned from working. But the account is now worth $65,000. That extra $24,000 didn't come from my paycheck. It's just pure growth while I was sleeping, working, doing whatever. It's basically free money.
Wow, this is just so inspirational. It says, my son turns 19 next week and his Roth IRA is $15K. So proud of him for starting it early and saving. I'm always so proud and happy to see people who take these things serious, because it is that serious. Because I don't know who a lot of y'all think is about to take care of you when you older. I actually don't know. Like, really. Like, is it gonna be the robots? I don't know. But be nice to have some resources so you can better figure that out, right? This comment here says, I opened a Roth IRA with $6,800 13 years ago. Never deposited anything again, and today it's at $42,000. Money makes money. It's why rich folks stay rich. They make their money work. I agree with this statement. See, typically we get money and we go spend the money. But remember when I was talking about earlier planting seeds? It's the same concept. Instead of you spending that money, you just take that money and you plant some seeds. And there's nothing wrong with spending money. There is something that comes out of only spending money and not planting seeds, though. You see what I'm saying? You can do both. But typically people tend to lean towards only spending money. They're not thinking about planting any seeds anywhere. So then when they don't have a harvest, they're like, why don't I have a harvest? Well, it's because you didn't plant no seeds. You were just spending, like throwing all your seeds and planting your seeds into companies. You know, you're planting it at Lululemon, Sephora, Chick-fil-A. You're planting it with those companies, and those companies already planted their seeds. Their seeds are the companies, because the companies make the people who own the companies money, even the shareholders. You are just consuming, trying to open somebody's eyes up today. You can do both. You don't just have to be a consumer, and you don't just have to be a person that only invests. There's something called balance that is very important, because with this balance, this is how you can enjoy your life. This is where you can plant your seeds, aka invest, and still spend money on a coffee every now and again. But if you're going to say, I cannot plant any seeds, but I can go to Starbucks and make them rich, that is in fact a lie. Do you see what I mean? That's a lie. And a lot of you may not be being honest because you want what you want, but you don't get the result of those who planted if you don't plant. Now, they said, what ETFs did she buy? This person's in VOO. She said VOO and VUG are her mains. This is a good one too. And for those of you who do have a Roth, what ETFs do you buy? Like, put them down below. But always do your research, y'all. Make sure you're actually going an official brokerage account. Do your research. See what ETFs look appealing to you. Do your research into what does that entail? What type of technology is in there? Start to get the knowledge, because there's so much knowledge here on YouTube, it doesn't even make sense. And on TikTok, people just telling y'all what they're doing. But I need to know what y'all think about all this. Do you think Roth IRAs are for poor people? It's a very interesting conversation to have. Or do you think they're extremely useful and underrated? Or would you rather spend your money elsewhere? No matter what your opinion on the matter is, I know one thing: we got to start making better decisions today in order to have a better future.